And that kind of leads into early morning wakings because, well, in a way, and it's all kind of one and the same because your night wakings then eventually turn into early morning wakings. And we just kind of, we want to make sure that sleep is good. So early mornings I find that this is a common question, kind of that 4 a.m. waking, 4:35, anything before 6, as far as I'm concerned, is too early to be up. I actually prefer 7, but that's because I'm greedy now. But if I could see 6 on the clock, I was always happy. So I consider anything before 6 to be an early morning waking. So they can happen for lots of reasons, as we know. Thinking about kind of our checklist of what can we check off quickly. So like environment, right? Our body temperature drops. So is the room too cool, right? Around that 4 a.m. time, there's a chance that maybe they're getting too cold. Is there a draft in there? Is it something simple that we can fix by just keeping them warmer, adding a layer onto their body? Is it light or noise, right? There's like external factors that sometimes cause us to wake up at that time. But I would say on a whole, those are lower on the scale of what's causing the waking. Often it can be timing. So some babies wake up at that 4 a.m. time. Our cortisol levels naturally rise around 4 a.m. So start to rise. So if a baby has gone to bed overtired, there's a chance that 4 a.m. waking is purely due to them being overtired. Sure. And now they're not set up for success because their body is full of cortisol and it's just really difficult to sleep. So obviously a way to combat that is to put them to bed earlier or, manage naps and just make sure they're getting enough daytime sleep. On the other side of that, though, is undertired, right? Where, do you want to speak on that for a minute?
Sure, yeah. If they're getting like too much daytime sleep or if we're not letting enough of that sleep pressure build up before bedtime, so we put them down, they know what to do, they have the skills to put themselves to sleep, but then they wake up and they're kind of just wide awake at this time. They don't really seem tired, they're not upset, they're content, they're just awake. So that's kind of when we look at that, undertired, there's not enough sleep pressure for them to, connect that next sleep cycle and fall back to sleep. So we always want to, when we're learning, we always say it's better to err on, the side of caution and undertired. But as time goes on and we get those sleep skills developing, then we really want to look at, were they tired enough going down? Are we setting them up for success to be able to link that sleep cycle and keep sleeping and would not wake up at 4 a.m. That's not.
And that can sometimes be a sign of a nap transition. So common ages are, kind of around 6 months, 5-6 months, closer to 7, dropping down to 2 naps. And then again, around 12 months, 11 to kind of 13 months, dropping down to 1 nap. And then obviously when they're ready to drop the nap, and that presents itself a lot of times where they just wake up at maybe it's 5 and they're just done sleeping. So definitely something to consider.
Or those pockets of sort of wakeful. I know with our son, like when he was ready to drop his nap fully, he was up from like 3 to 5, just upset but not able to get back to sleep because he just didn't have that sleep pressure to truly be able to do that. So we never want to jump to those conclusions first. We want to rule out all the things that we're going to talk about, but that's something to kind of watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And then kind of going back to the motivation, right? Because especially the older kids, so babies kind of fall under this as well, but I find the toddlers and that, sometimes the sleep skill set's there, but they're still waking up early. So we often go to like timing first. Okay, overtired, undertired, something there. Or is it kind of that motivation again? Like, is there something happening? So I say, like, put yourself in their shoes, put yourself in their head. Like, from their perspective, is there something worth waking up for? Is something cool happening at 5 a.m.? Do they get to come have snuggles in bed? Do they get to watch tablet? Do they get a feed? Is there something happening? And not that any of those things are bad. I still snuggle with my kids in bed in the morning. But, like, think of it from their point of view. Is it worth going back to sleep and finishing out your sleep cycle? Or is it worth waking up, getting to, come and cuddle with mom? So again, not to say that's bad, but if we're trying to help them to sleep through the rest of the night, then a good way is to delay whatever it is that they're waking up for. So if it's TV or something, I'd probably just cut that out. If it's snuggles in bed, kind of the same thing. Like, let's do something different. Can we keep them in their room? Can we do something boring? If it's to that point where you have to get them up, okay, get them up, but keep it dark, no stimulation, no food, no technology, right? Like, just chill, just hang out. It's not that exciting. And then in time, hopefully, they'll start to choose sleep, right? Because they probably do want to sleep. It's just, is there something more enticing to actually wake up for?
And as adults, I think it's sometimes hard. It's easy to forget that because for us, nothing feels better than sleeping. Nothing motivates us to get up aside from our children are waking us up or, just having to go to work and doing like life things. But, so it's easy to forget that, and there are their little minds that these things are better to them. So yeah, can we just delay it? And you're right. Sometimes we have to stop it for a little bit of time. It doesn't mean that it can't come back.
exactly.
But, if we start noticing those wakings coming in again, then, we always want to take a step back and look at the things you just talked about to see, maybe it is motivating for them, because I've definitely experienced that with my own children.
Sure, same.
That were like, oh yeah, I guess that is, interesting to you. So,
Yep. And it's always fine when it's happening. When they come into bed, it's wonderful. I love the snuggles.
Yeah.
But then when it's day 5 of it, you start to think, oh, well, they need more sleep, and so do I.
Yeah.
So,
Let's delay
So
it.
think about the motivation, delaying the motivation. Again, put yourself in their shoes. What can you do to kind of help offset that for them?